What's up, guys and gals? It's time for the latest chapter review for Strike It Rich, Chapter 77, Army Breaker Restored. And that's the best title I could come up with because we already discussed this last week with Chapter 76. And honestly, I could make this a YouTube goddamn short. I'm going to try to stretch it. Let's talk. Let's just talk. Everybody just sit back. Lean back. And let's chat. Let's just have a couple moments to ourselves because the fight was nice. Like, everything about it was fine on paper. Like, literally. Like, narratively speaking, Rey needed sort of a win. But once again, that's a detriment. So already we have a problem with the paper itself. We set up Crusher and Slasher to be... We set up Bone Shaver and Crusher and Slasher. We give them major backstories. We make them fear. We make, people sweat bullets on how powerful they are. And, the soccer kicks and the bone shaving and all this stuff. When, meanwhile, the threat, at least in the first fight, it was legitimately there because we did not know enough, and when the backstory was set up, having our main character go up against them and already be damaged without being able to get out unscathed is certainly a really good way to set the tone. However, the fact that Crusher and Slasher was supposed to go up against Hina, and then we substitute Rey, as we already said in Chapter 76, most people had this opinion, is this can only go one of two ways, and neither way is narratively a great choice. It was a bad decision because Rey either loses and keeps herself right there at the bottom, or we hype up somebody that we've never seen, and that's what they did. They hyped up Crusher and Slasher, the tomato and onion, to be this larger than life figure to get destroyed by Rey. Now there was a chance here, an opportunity for Rey to showcase that she doesn't want to be on the bottom of the totem pole for very long, that she's expanded her arsenal above, and they argue, yeah, she can do a lock, she can do an arm lock. Alright, whatever. Which, by the way, did not work, and she got soccer kicked to death. Anybody else would have been dead. So, the fact of the matter is that the ridiculousness of the beatdown Rey had while still maintaining complete form, because we've seen her take a lesser beatdown and be completely vomiting, like completely destroyed. So, while you could make the argument that maybe she, strengthened her core a little bit, she's up against someone 3 times her size, 4 times her size. She's never fought an opponent like that. She should be shitting bricks, if anything, from all that beatdown she gave. So not only did that take me out of the moment, but also this was an opportunity, as I said, for her. We've already seen the evolution of the Army Breaker into, there's the Army of God, then there's the Army Breaker, then there's the Army Breaker Dawn. And now we have the Armor Breaker Dawn done Rurouni Kenshin style, you know what I mean? Like Batu Jutsu. And I'm just like, out of all the one silver lining you could have had with this narratively is you saw Rey not abandon the Army Breaker because she already used it at the beginning of, or the end of 76. It would have been to showcase that she doesn't need that style, that she has now been practicing or working on other styles, other methods of fighting, other methods of attack. That would have worked, in my opinion. I think that would have worked at the very least because, as I said, on paper, this fight, the choreography is fine, the art is stellar as always, but it's a nonsensical fight because it either Crusher and Slasher either wins and Rey stays at the bottom of the totem pole where we knew she was, or this is a cheap victory just to say, hey, one of the characters introduced 20 chapters ago is actually back on her game. And we all saw it. It wasn't a red herring. It wasn't subtle. And the only outcome, there was only 2 outcomes for this fight, and both of them weren't exciting whatsoever. We all discussed this back in chapter 76, so I feel like I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but it came to fruition, and everyone's so shocked. Question Slasher is so strong! And then defeated in one blow so easily. Rey has digivolved, in fact. It's not just, it's Metal Rey. It's, Mega Rey. It's just like, is Braveheart playing? Anyways, I just, me personally, like everyone's feelings and worries about the direction from the end of chapter 76. They all came to fruition here, and as I said, the only way I could have seen how to fix it was to have Rey not win with Army Breaker. Which, by the way, her Army Breaker was the same. Oh no, she used Army Breaker Dawn, but she powered it up. It was just nonsensical. It was kind of ridiculous. And once again, we're just relying on the same old Army Breaker. Army Breaker. She's a one-trick pony. It's not impressive. They tried to make it with all the dialogue and Hina's commentary and all this stuff. They tried to make it impressive, but she's still just she's what the Army of God made her. She hasn't evolved. She hasn't improved. She's just utilizing what she knows to the 11th degree. If it was anybody but Crusher and Slasher, you know what I mean? Anyway, narratively speaking, not exciting. On paper, meh. And that was chapter 77. So I will say this is one of the most disappointing chapters, because given the premise that they put themselves into a corner, and they had an opportunity to get themselves at least some level of merit out of it, and they chose not to do that and double down on this Army Breaker crap. And I don't know. I wasn't here for it. So hopefully, tongue-tied there. Chapter 78 will be more impressive, a little bit more narrative things going on and stuff. Because once again, the story is fantastic. We have a great cast and crew of characters and stuff like that. It's just, this was not the fight after the Nozomi fight against Bone Shaver. This was not what you wanted to see. You know what I mean? This is not, no matter what the dialogue says, you know how so many people complain about the other series going on, the King and Omega and stuff like that, when we have commentators telling us, oh my god, this is so impressive. If we're not impressed as readers, you telling us to be impressed doesn't make us impressed. So all of the commentary in the world in this chapter does not impress me. And as I said, all the shit kicking Rey took, she should have been down on the floor and been comatose before she pulled off that Batu Jutsu, I watched too many Kenshin episodes version of Army Breaker in the first place. So, yeah, not only unrealistic, but just kind of boring. So yeah, chapter 77, not so great. Hopefully 78 picks up the pace and we get some way better matchups and way better fights. Looking forward to it. Hope you guys are too. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. It's sometimes you just get a bad week. You get a chapter that you just you don't mesh with. Either opinion based, like of course mine is. Maybe you guys love this chapter and you think I'm full of shit. That's fair. But sometimes even in series that you really like, which of course I like this one, some weeks aren't so great. Some weeks you just don't have a good chapter. It is what it is. So it doesn't mean that I don't like the series because of one, lackluster week. Chapter 78, still looking forward to it. And I hope you guys have the same attitude towards a week-to-week, month-to-month, bi-weekly series, because otherwise it's very difficult to assume that every single episode, every single chapter, every single is always going to be a 10 out of 10. You know what I mean? So this, unfortunately, was nowhere near 10, but maybe next week will be. And that's what you had to have, that little bit of optimism going forward. So, anyways, I've said my piece. Did we? Yeah, I think we crushed. I think we got to the double digit on the timestamp. So, yeah. Better than the YouTube short. Anyways, like, comment, subscribe. We'll see you guys back in next time. See ya.